I mean, the last game they had the Tiny. This time they have the Doom. That'd be like the only change, right? And then their last pick would have to be like some, they did Puck before. Storm kind of died a little bit. Maybe they'll still pick it, but they need to. There's a decent amount of mids you can pick. All right, so that was their answer to the jug.
Yeah, they just
take
pick it themselves.
Yeah.
It's the old deny pick.
That is 100% a deny pick. Jakiro, that's picked against NP as well. So like this lane's pretty strong. They can just like use the dual breath on the Treant, spin him if he wants to, and pretty straightforward lane there. It shouldn't be too difficult for Juggernaut with the Jakiro helping him out.
Seeing with where it's at now, are you a little bit worried for NGX.SEA and how much they might struggle in the lanes?
I'm not personally worried. If anything, I'm like, if I'm NGX.SEA, I'm like, dude, we're in their heads. They're taking out Jug. They're picking a Jakiro because of how hard Miracle stomped over them. Like, I feel like we saw them laugh like on camera right after these two picks came out. Like, I feel like they're feeling pretty good about themselves right now.
They're riding that high.
Yeah. Like, I don't think they're too afraid of what Jug can do this game. Maybe they can even swap up the NP, either play it support, play it safe lane carry if they don't want to play it into the Jakiro Jug lane. There's kind of some switch ups they can do.
I'm curious what they'd pick here. Like for some reason I'm thinking Faceless Void. It could be good for them.
Okay.
With the NP off lane.
What does the Faceless Void offer?
Just hard counters Juggernaut. They they could do Terrorblade if they want. I got buffed. I'm not a huge fan of hard carries, but Morphlings in the pool. There's so many like counters to Juggernaut. You just kind of like pick and I hate that hero, but
damn.
They're really playing along with like the Grimstroke combos. I mean, DK got nerfed pretty hard. Like he lost agility, which means he lost armor and attack speed. His shard just got super nerfed. In a patch where most things got buffed. It was really a big loser of this patch.
5 seconds remaining.
And I'm not sure why they picked it either.
Radiant team banned.
Is it that stun? Do they feel that they needed?
I mean,
they could have just gone Puck, I guess. Like
team ban.
I just feel like the Puck worked so well from last game. Like I'd almost rather see that than the DK, but
they probably just Puck is pretty bad versus Jug. So maybe they think this is an option to stun him, but if the reflexes are there, it's still not easy to stun.
10 seconds remaining.
I don't know. I'm sure they have some plan with this. I'm very curious in what they're doing with this. If this is a carry DK or just a blind pick mid DK. I guess they see Tiny mid, so it sounds like a 50-50 lane. DK will do fine. Tiny will do fine.
What do you feel the last picks need to carry for Polaris?
For Polaris, they need an off lane still. There's still Mars in the pool, right?
There is, yeah.
Just run it back.
First phase, yes.
I'm fine with Mars. They're not going to see their carry matchup, so just pick something solid with the Coddle. They ran it the other game. Why not?
Yeah. Sure, NGX saw this coming. They could have banned it, but decided some of these other heroes were maybe a bigger problem. Unless they were thinking that Tiny was offlane or something, but it seems a bit odd.
They just wanted to make sure if DK went mid that they couldn't just switch it up and DK had an awful game versus like the Bat and DB.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. You don't really want to be playing either of those matchups. And now they need a carry. Again.
Ooh. I mean, Grim PA, we've seen this lane quite a bit, particularly in SEA. Like this, let's, try and crush our lane a bit. This is a hero that can cause maybe Mars some problems.
Yeah. I was thinking the Void, it's similar. You have this mobility, but I don't think Void likes playing versus Mars that much because the stun is just too long duration.
Well, I want to bring in Mike and John, and I said to you guys, I promise I won't talk over whoever's going second this time. But Mike, I'll start with you. Which lineup do you think feeds into the team's strengths better?
It's hard to tell. They're both pretty close, right? Just very glad to see no Marcy being picked up by either team, so we should be in for a close game for once. I feel like the PA pick's pretty nice. I still think Polaris Esports has a better draft going into this matchup, but I think it can go either way this game.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close in terms of draft. You have really good magic damage from Polaris to hold down that PA until the BKB timing. So it feels like In Your Dream's really going to have to work for that space and keep building up. And it's a bit greedy from NGX going for the Doom support as well for Jocam. So he's going to be feeding in, trying to get some gold to get a blink at least to initiate. And that's something Polaris can play around with their aggression here.
Do you agree with what those guys are saying, or do you want to argue?
I think it's pretty straightforward here. Like, Nigma again has a draft where unless they get some double dooms off is very snowbally, and Polaris has a more well-rounded draft. So up to Nigma to snowball the game yet again.
Exactly the same.
Yeah. I think they can do it though. I'm gonna believe in Nigma Galaxy. I'm riding the high. They got the Nature's Prophet again. I think that's just another that lane. It just felt like players didn't have an answer for. So I think NGX have game 3.
Oh gosh, all right. You guys are always switching up here on the couch, but I can always depend on you, Mike and John, as we do go into game 3.
Well, thank you so much, Nat. We do go into game number 3 here. John, before we do start the game, keep in mind, any team that loses 2 series has a very low chance of making it to the major, right? Like, if we're talking about qualifying to the major, you know, you think Fnatic T1 boom right now, you lose 2 series as any team, it's going to be a pretty rough affair because then you're relying on the other teams to also drop many, many series. So it's going to be quite important for either side if they wish to have a chance at this next major to try and pull off this win.
Yeah, they've got to find that win, make or break for either side. And NGX and Polaris are kind of in that same position where they were contenders in the first, well, in the last tour at the very least, Tour 2. And they want to be contenders still, especially Polaris. We're on the cusp of going to the major. They're going to need this win. So we'll see if they can pull it out. NGX, of course, has shown us that, you know, sometimes despite running some slightly wackier drafts, they still manage to make it work. And they've got Mizu back on his NP. As the draft mentioned, I do like Polaris's early aggression, though. I mean, you have so much magic damage with a Kotl, with a Mars, with a Jakiro on top of that. Even Natsumi can join in. With just a Maelstrom, Sanjin, Yasha, you're kind of set to go on the jug to help out. And you've got Lelouch once more in the Tiny, and we saw him perform in that hero in game 1. So I think Polaris has the aggression to back themselves up this time around in comparison to game 2, where they only had Lelouch to launch off of. Because Nevermind was on a Razor, their support duo just wasn't doing enough. This time around, they should be able to find that room to make the plays here, Mike.
Absolutely. Before we do get into any kind of fighting or laning stage, John, I didn't have my chance to respond to Neff in Discord, so I just wanted to say Neff's an idiot. That's it. Neff Sensei is an absolute idiot. I hope he's listening to so he can listen to me saying that. No, he's an idiot.
Is the most base genius. We're
That's enough, Jonathan.
Teammates.
Nevermind's in trouble. Nevermind's in trouble, Jonathan. In Your Dream's gonna move in. Nevermind copying a fair bit of damage here on this Mars. So he's going to be all right to back out of there. Xavius will kind of hold the line for him, though he is going to be copying a fair bit of HP removal here from the side of NGX.SEA. And, well, sadly for Nevermind, John, he can't rely on his support to salve him up anymore, which was very, very good. Great change.
Yeah, no salves. No salves, but Bracer off lane is what we tend to see in a lot of Bracers. I recall Mizu game 1 for Bracer Night Stalker build. Not going to see that from Nevermind. Even the value Bracer, despite the nerfs, is going to help the cause. We'll just have to see if he'll be allowed to reach that point. I love the movement from Boomboy here, just going up north, cutting them off, making it uncomfy to look for the angle, playing with that Stroke of Fate really nicely down the line. The Inkswell combination is going to be pretty darn good. You can jump and commit onto Nevermind. He is not that durable. Look at Boomboy. Just cuts him all the way back to his second wave. Again, just preventing any sort of wave clearing and aggression onto that PA. So giving In Your Dream pretty much the perfect start for him, at least for these first 2 waves here.
That's a very nice Stroke of Fade out as well. Just cancelling off the salve. Had over half its duration. Still going, but Nevermind gonna lose that. And now Xavius is gonna give him the salve over. But you only get half the value out of that salve, which I had the experience of giving a salve over to my carry today, John. I tried to tell them about the recent changes, but they still insisted. And they ended up dying a minute later. Just thought I'd add that tidbit.
Why would you do that, Mike? I mean, honestly, and this is a pro tip I've heard from my friend Crest, if you want to help your core now, just buy Headrest. Just walk into lane with Headrest. That's it. It just shifts,
just don't help them? Just don't help them.
Yeah, you know, if only.
Bot lane. First blood does get drawn. Boomboy, who's been very impactful down at the bot lane, has secured first blood on the Grimstroke, so Nevermind. It really felt like it was all off the back of that kind of terrible start trying to fight over the bounties, and he does finally end up dropping.
Yeah, and it's just that aggression that they can get out here from the side of NGX. They've got great Inkswell combinations. They've got their own source of damage coming through from Boomboy. Never mind, it's just not that durable. He does have one bracer up, and they are starting to get some damage out. Nice spear out, but probably not enough to get the kill. And again, still giving a lot of space to In Your Dream. So already off to a really strong start here on the PA. Polaris have to be careful about bleeding out on this off lane. We saw Nevermind go off to a slower start game 2. On his Mars, he should do a lot better, but you still kind of want a stable start here to get those timings right.
We should have a look at the other lanes as well here. John, of course, top lane Mizu on the Nature's Prophet was being annoyed by TMV on that Jakiro. Of course, he doesn't really want to play the lane, and I think Fear and Gods kind of spoke about this during the panel, but Jakiro pretty darn good at dealing with the Nature's Prophet, so they are just constantly pulling the creep wave away, and you can see JoeCam doing that exact same thing right now. As Natsumi is going to try and intercept. JoeCam doesn't really want to drag it into the tier 1 tower, and he does get away with not doing so. So very nice play here from NGX.SEA at the top lane. And even if Natsumi is still farming, as long as Mizu secures his own farm, I'm sure he's going to be very happy.
Yeah, and they're getting steady build up on the NP. Still a bit of a slower start for Mizu. Natsumi not too dissatisfied with this lane. Fairly annoying to lane up against JoeCam and the support Doom. He does grab the mana burn creep. So he just runs up, mana burns Natsumi, suddenly he doesn't have his save in the Blade Fury. They don't have that aggression coming through from Polaris to play with the slowest into the spin and leverage that magic damage. All because JoeCam got that perfect creep.
It's kind of annoying as well that the creep gives you the mana aura. So if you think about it, the creep's actually more valuable than Crystal Maiden these days, John, which is, you know, what can you do?
Why you gotta do that to me, man?
Well,
I know, she's dead. Everyone knows. No need to keep stomping on her dead body, Mike.
I'm just saying, JoeCam can be an actual hero and give mana to his allies. It's incredible.
Ah, Mikey.
And
it
burn
is
the
incredible.
enemies to mana. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, Natsumi's just all out. Can't even use the healing ward to sustain in the lane.
Bot lane.
It's a bit of a slow start.
Never mind. Again in trouble. JoeCam, or rather Boomboy, and In Your Dream, able to set up another time. But it's really off the back of Boomboy. He's just doing a fantastic job during this laning phase, making it borderline impossible for this master to do anything. As well, speaking of impossible, now Natsumi up at the top lane is not having a very good time, and it's all off the back of JoeCam. He just burns all their mana, and they can't do anything.
The supports are making all the difference in the world in these side lanes, so things looking good for NGX on both sides. I mean, the CS is still there for Natsumi at least, but it is dragging behind compared to In Your Dream's basically free lane. The only lane feeling good for Polaris right now is their mid. You're seeing Lelouch work that lane fairly well. Up there in CS, Electric can't do much to stop it as Nevermind dies again. It's very reminiscent of what we saw there in game 2. Xavier's just going for stacks, looking for a mid-rotation or just to look for that opportunity, but every time he leaves, Nevermind's just a sitting duck there.
And don't forget, this is a comfort pick for In Your Dream as well, so you're going to give all this free farm and all these kills over to the PA. We know how comfortable In Your Dream is on this hero. Loves these kind of aggressive pos one where he can make the jump in and just find pickoffs across the map as top lane. Speaking of pickoffs, TMV's going to drop now to JoeCam once again. And it's almost starting to feel like NGX.SEA are going to be ready to push in this top tier 1 tower soon. They've got the siege creep on their way. Maybe they can get some decent damage up.
Yeah, and you're level 4 now on Mizu. Treants are up and running. You can't just go. You've got the Dragon form alacrity if he does want to change flinch, and they find Xavius this time down bot. It's just so anyone aggressive. Who jumps in gets caught out by Inkswell Blink. It's just very basic, but it works.
It certainly does. They just don't have the counters towards it down at this bot lane. Never mind, sitting at level 3. Boomboy's at level 4. Boomboy's almost level 5 on the pos 5 Grimstroke. And Nevermind's at level 3, John. That's how badly this bottom lane's gone. Make matters worse, In Your Dream's almost level 6.
Yeah.
Level 6.
It's a slow start, and it's gonna bite Polaris quite hard. I mean, I think we heard Fear say that he wanted to see them go for survivability, just hold on to these lanes and try to survive through for Polaris, but it's not coming out. We're seeing a bit of a repeat from game 2. The aggression's coming through from NGX. Even the mid lane where, you know, you were seeing a little bit more for Lelouch. Alacrity's kind of stepped up, getting a good shove onto the mid. Double bracer up. Very gerbil now on the DK. Let's get some decent chip damage onto the mid tier 1 as well. And Polaris just doesn't have anything to stop. They need more levels on their supports. They need some items up on their cores. They are getting the TP up top here, though.
Yeah, Lelouch gonna make the rotation over. Nice avalanche toss is onto Mizu, and that should be the Prophet gone. They do overextend, and Lelouch does end up punishing them. And Mizu, just getting a bit too much out of that top lane, is finally going down. Lelouch, right after that, he's back into the mid lane. He's not messing around.
Just in and out, looking for the pick off, looking for a way to accelerate that blink timing now on the Tiny, which is going to be key. Considering how slow this game is for Nevermind, his own blink is going to take a while. So the momentum's going to have to come out once more from the mid here for Lelouch. And at the least, he is starting to find the kills he needs to get that done. Going to need a little bit more than that, though. So we'll see if the opportunity presents itself. Alacrity just anchoring down in mid. So every single time Lelouch leaves, it gets shoved in.
Oh, never mind. I mean, you can't show up down to that bot lane anymore. Meanwhile, topside, at least they might find themselves Jokam, but no, apparently not Jokam. He's still alive. TMB the one in trouble, but here comes Lelouch with a big avalanche toss out. They might at least get another. Mizu. Oh. Turns around, gets a little bit greedy there at the tail end, and barely survives.
Yeah, great use of a fairy fire, just hangs in there, tries to bait them into the tier 1. They don't overcommit from Polaris's end, but NGX just showing us they can play on the limits. They still find that kill on the support Doom, so it's still something for Lelouch to accelerate into that blink. But you're not losing the biggest targets here on NGX. Your lanes are still shaping up well. Slowest lane is likely Mizu's lane, but he is the off-lane NP. Doesn't need too much to get going. While you've really enabled In Your Dream, 4.3k net worth already, working towards that Battle Fury. It's going to be a really quick timing for him around the 12-minute mark or so. And once that PA has the Battle Fury up, your Jug is going to be lagging a bit behind. In fact, Natsumi's also going for a Battle Fury, so going for the old school match farm kind of sense here, and it does help clear out the push that can come through from NGX with the Treants. So I guess they feel like they need some wave clear on their pause 1 as well. That should help get the job done, but Polaris needs to start building up those stacks to really maximize that Battle Fury time down the line. So we see some large camp stack in triangle. They're going to need to hold on to that mid tier 1 to secure that, and they're going to need to hold on until that Battle Fury is up.
I don't know if I agree with the itemization here from Natsumi on the Battle Fury. It's for like, you kind of maybe want to go for more like a Maelstrom build up here, but it doesn't really matter. I guess he's going into the late game against his PA.
Radiant are scanning.
Mid lane, push is happening. The Dragon Knight, get it going as Alacrity. Gonna know Xavius is around. Xavius trying his best to slow this push down as best as possible, but it's like that tier 1 tower is set to fall. He could at least try for the deny, but he's gonna miss out on that as well. Alacrity, at the least, does not find the stun onto Xavier, so he does survive. But Jokam, in the meantime, does find TMB instead on the Jakiro, but doesn't really have any help around to secure the kill. Instead, NGX.SEA gonna back their way out. But they should be very happy with taking that mid-tier 1 tower.
Yeah, nice simple tower take, opens up the map a little bit more. Polaris starting to mass TP down bot though. They've got the arena ready on Nevermind. They need a good angle, but they're spotted out by that forward ward. So In Your Dream just gets to back off. Really awkward ward position, not one that's normally scouted out. And In Your Dream just gets to back off and keep farming while they start to get aggressive up top on NGX's end.
Natsumi, back up towards the top lane he goes. Luckily, no Doom available yet on Jokam, so he can't commit that. Though he does have the Tomb now, so level 6 is online for the Doom. They might just jump in, and they do. Doom is out. Inkspot will follow. Jokam just trying to connect with the stun, and does do so as Mizu. He gets the sprout off. No way through it. They do find Natsumi, and now the arena is down. They might at least find Jokam, and they will. They'll take what they can get. It's still a very rough trade, though, for the side of Polaris.
Takes quite a commitment. They lose their pause 1 and Lelouch.
That's a big pick off. They can get it. The Tiny in trouble. Mizu does get the sprout, but it is cut through as In Your Dream does land the stun. Lelouch, he needs some help. He's got an avalanche up. There's your ice path out from TMB, but In Your Dream still moving in and does secure the kill. Oh, this PA is going to be huge. 4-0-2 so far. Make it a 5th one. Double kill up for In Your Dream. It's going to be very hard to slow this man down now.
Really is. It's going to be a 12.5-minute battle for you at this rate. Along with power treads and a rate band doing a lot of damage already. Farm rate's going to increase, and the timing for Natsumi's way further off. I mean, the Chug does have early presence, but when you do go for the Battle Fury build, you are tending to focus in more on farm. And Natsumi does still have his triangle in control, at least. Top jungle also somewhat in control. They haven't been playing in that area. You do have the blink up and running on Lelouch here now, Mike. So Polaris can look to play aggressive off the back of the Tiny. They do smoke up as 2 here, trying to look for that pickoff.
They are going to try. Lelouch, he'll frontline for the team with that blink up. Through the Radiant Triangle they go. Alacrity, he might run right into him in this Dragon Knight. In fact, they do. They break the smoke. They were trying to jump Jokam, but instead now they're the ones being jumped. Lelouch already losing half his HP. He needs some help right now, but there's no help incoming. The Tiny's in such big trouble. Lelouch can't even find Burn Boy. And they even got Lelouch and Xavius on top of that. It's a problem here for Polaris Esports.
And they're just working the aggression really well in NGX. They know where they have to play. They know what to expect out from Polaris. Polaris just not finding any openings on the map. Their blink timing on Nevermind's delayed. He's had such a painful lane on his signature Mars. In Your Dreams just been allowed to farm up to a really great extent. Even Alacrity just left alone on mid because there's really not much threat a Tiny has on that with his burst damage, considering how tanky Alacrity is with just double Bracer Soul Ring. And they're losing map control. They've already lost mid earlier on. Top's gone. Top jungle's fully invaded now by the side of NGX. They've got the blink ready here on Alacrity if they do want to play.
They will. Alacrity right in. Sees a free kill on the Keeper, and he'll take it. Mizu is the one to actually claim the kill on the Prophet. Polaris backs against the wall now with a 5k net worth deficit. Seems like there's going to be a lot of pressure on Natsumi to carry them through this game, because it feels like no other lane's gone right. And even Natsumi's lane didn't really go that well. At least not as well as In Your Dreams lane, which has gone really just well. The best you could probably ask for. Still at 5-0-2.
Just having a swell run on that PA. Battle Fury up, rushing into the BKB. 7.3k net worth at 14 minutes in.
Oh,
Polaris going out with another smoke.
Might find something here, John. They know someone's around. Mizu is going to get jumped. Lelouch, he's the one to make the jump in onto the Prophet as the Dragon Tail does connect, but then the Ice Path and the Macro Pyre. Still the Tiny is starting to drop rather low. Mizu still alive somehow. The Illuminate though, the Avalanche, it's going to connect, and it'll be enough to at least get 2. Burn Boy and Mizu both dropping. So Polaris able to fight back successfully.
They do manage to get a pick-off that they desperately need, getting some build-up here on Lelouch. And really well-timed Ice Path and Mac from TMV. That blocks off the Dragon Tail follow-through from Alacrity, but not quite enough to shove away DK. They find that pick-off they need. Again, probably not the biggest one you'd want. You definitely want to be hunting down In Your Dream, but he is just well protected by his teammates, taking that forward position so the PA is safe inside their own part of the river, part of their map. Polaris, I mean, the build-up is there. The Battle Fury is up for Natsumi, so you can start to clear out these Ancients, and the farm is slowly but surely trickling through. You're gonna need to finish up that BKB blink on Nevermind to really get their combination off, and then the magic starts to pour in. But with the BKB timing we're gonna be seeing from In Your Dream and even Alacrity here, you don't have that big of a window to play with your magical burst anymore. And once those BKBs are up and running, it just feels like your entire lineup is kind of counteracted. Like your burst on Tiny's gone, your constant magic damage from the Cottle's gone, Macro Pyre's not going to feel that amazing, and your control from Mars Arena's just disappeared. So Polaris needs to make some moves happen before the BKBs come through here, Mike, but they still haven't found the angle.
They might try now. Jokam, he's going to blink up. Lelouch, got to be very cautious. Jokam, though, unable to get within range. All towards the south, Alacrity. He's hanging around Natsumi and TMV, but doesn't seem like they're going to run into each other. He should be just fine. So the 4k net worth lead still stands. In Your Dream, almost at the Desolator timing now. In fact, he might go for the BKB first, just to be extra safe. And in the meantime, TMV does get caught out. They'll take the Jakiro kill for themselves.
Not the biggest one in the world, but still a kill. It's a kill here for NGX. Allows them to just play more aggressively, knowing that that big tool in the Macro Pyre is gone. So a lot of that magic damage is taken away from these team fights. And they feel less threatened to show up in the lanes and get their farm up. Polaris, still stalling out. I mean, Natsumi's recovered pretty nicely. 8k net worth around at this point. 200 gold behind, 900 gold behind PA. You have to watch yourself at top.
Well, they've got Mizu. That's a great pickup here for Polaris. Lelouch able to set up another one. I think at this stage of the game, though, it's more about how you're going to shut down this PA. Like, In Your Dream's been left to free farm this whole time. I don't think the Jug's going to be able to keep up, even with the Battle Fury up. I think the PA is always going to be the faster farmer. And at this point, it doesn't seem like they have the answers.
No. And once the BKB is up and In Your Dream, the answers kind of disappear. She's going to have next to max blur at that point. You're not going to have anything like an MKB up on your Jug anytime soon. Polaris will go for the smoke play now, though. They've got the blink up on Nevermind at least. If they can get that jump now, before the full BKB's up on In Your Dream, that could be a big one.
Oh, they might find him. They're running right towards the PA. In Your Dream. Oh, Spidey senses a tingling. He knows something's wrong. He backs off at the right moment. Lelouch gonna try with the avalanche. The toss back. It might connect the ice path. It's there. Where's the BKB? It's not out yet. He has not brought it up yet. In Your Dream is gonna drop. It's a big pickoff. NGX.SEA, they're gonna try and punish though. A double doom out. They've taken down Nevermind. And now they've got the tiny. Lelouch is gone. TMB, he might be the third to drop. Hell, even Xavius is re-showing himself. He'll 4-star pass, but they cannot save the Jakiro. TMB to drop. You got the PA, but I've got a question if it's worthwhile losing two cores plus the support for that. It's a hell of a lot to trade.
It is. I think you take it if you're Polaris there. You definitely needed to get that kill on In Your Dream now before the BKB, and they managed to get that timing right. They just didn't have enough in the tank to follow through afterwards. They don't have any of their own early BKBs anywhere near done, of course. It's NGX. It's really rushing into that spell immunity first. They are buying space for Natsumi, and killing off the PA does allow Natsumi to catch up a little bit. Yasha up, Sanj next into the Shard. Some more presence coming out from the spin. I feel like if you go Battle Fury, going for this build is a bit awkward. Xavius isn't safe though.
Joe Camp make the jump in. Xavius off the Spirit Form and try to make a run for it, but Alacrity's right on the chase and he's got no way out of that tree line. But his team is incoming. They might be able to punish for this keeper kill. It doesn't seem like they'll make it in time, but perhaps they can still try with the Ice Path to set up. They've at least got one. Lelouch, he wants a bigger target. He'll go after Alacrity on that Dragon Knight and they've locked him down. Nice trade for Polaris.
It's what they needed. They need to find more big cores. Not done yet.
They might even get another. Joe Camp getting speared up here by Nevermind. Is set to fall, it seems. They should have the damage, though Joe Camp will go for a cheeky stun out, but Nevermind eventually will take the kill. Another nice pickup for Polaris Esports. They just need a couple more of those, and it does seem like they'll be back into the game.
Keeping themselves well paced here. Still 4k behind. Nevermind.
Oh, In Your Dream, he hasn't forgotten how that laning stage goes. Onto the Master, they have the damage, not quite. One more crit would have done it, but Nevermind able to quickly think and TP out. Problem is now Roshan is up. And In Your Dream, he'll get started.
No arena for about half a minute here for Polaris. Lelouch still has a good blink angle, but no BKB, so jumping in isn't the safest bet. And this rush doesn't take too long for In Your Dream. He does have good damage. He has his own BKB if there's a contestation here from Polaris. Polaris are clumped up towards mid, but don't quite have the best vision to spot the rush. They do have that ramp ward on the river. Not gonna make it in time though. Aegis up on In Your Dream with the fresh BKB. He's feeling great in this PA. Desolator next. Burst damage is going to be on hand physically into the Ag Shard with Fan of Knives to get some break action going on. And for Polaris, it's still all in on Natsumi. He's the only hero that's really allowed to farm up here. Sanj and Yasha up with a Battle Fury, again going into the Shards. I mean, he can wave clear really well. I think his single target damage still isn't at its apex. You know, he's going to need a lot more. Maybe even something like, I don't know, it feels like you still need a way of handling that PA evasion. So an MKB's still feels like it's going to be necessary. If not, something like a Silver Edge for break, or even just a Mjolnir so you can get some procs bouncing. Although with a BKB on In Your Dream, it doesn't feel amazing.
Oh, In Your Dream!
Top. What?
Oh, there goes the Aegis. With the solar bind down, it was just so much damage, and now, well, they'll go for the solar bind. In Your Dream moves in. There's Nevermind. He's gone. Onto Lelouch. They've got the Tiny. Locked down. Trying to heal him up. He's still alive with the mute. Can he get out of this? It doesn't seem like it. The Tiny's still dripping out. Meanwhile, In Your Dream, who's he aiming down? Nobody quite yet. In fact, somehow Lelouch survived throughout all that. So they might be able to counter-initiate now. NGX, they're the ones trying to back out. Everyone's out of it. What a
Pretty
mess of a team
fortunate for
fight.
Lelouch. No massive crits coming out there from In Your Dream in that mess. And no Desolator up yet in Your Dream, so the physical armor of our Tiny still comes into play. Level 2 Grow is still a lot of armor for PA to work through with the crit damage he does have on hand. You're gonna need that Deso to kind of even it out. And Polaris get to hang around. They know Doom is down for a minute and a half. They've got an opportunity to play with the arena up, and they will go for that smoke.
Well, they see JoeCam in the mid lane. They might settle for that. Take down the Doom and then go for the mid tier 1 tower. They barely miss out on Alacrity as well.
Dire are scanning.
Instead, again, they could set up for the mid tier 1.
Radiant are
Rotations are incoming. Mizu, though, he's right in the middle. He'll drop the Wraith Pact over. Meanwhile, Arena, though, has scored 3 of them as Nevermind setting up perfectly. Alacrity and Boomboy already gone. Mizu's in trouble now. Tossed back onto the Nature's Prophet. And they've got a name back. Lelouch, he keeps going for more. He wants the rest of them. Who do they get? JoeCam. He's the one being left behind, but the Ice Path is going to lock down In Your Dream. He didn't pop the BKB in time. He's gone.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. It's a full team wipeout for Polaris Esports.
Radiant's middle
Oh, they
tower
had the
is under
BKB
attack.
too.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. I mean, if you don't get that spell immunity off, the magic damage and the output of Polaris is still pretty high, and they managed to bait NGX in 1 by 1 almost. Really good jump from Nevermind, showing us once more why his Mars is probably a top-tier ban against Polaris. Has a slower lane start, just
Radiant's
gets a
middle
blink,
tower
starts
is
running
under
around,
attack.
setting up for his team with Lelouch on hand. And now, that massive lead NGX had is gone. Natsumi suddenly top of net worth off the back of these
Radiant's
engagements.
top tower
Is
is under
working towards the
attack.
Lincolns for protection from the Doom or Soulbind at the least. Once that's up, locking in the Jugs, it's going to be an issue. Still very defensive on the Jug, so you're going to need something to pierce through the evasion, but if the PA never gets off the BKB, she doesn't have the highest strength gain. So burning her through with magic is still very feasible here for the side of Polaris, and that's something In Your Dream has to be wary about. He's got to be able to turn that BKB on at the right time, get the angle to jump back in, have his team back him up there, and kind of clean off with his damage output. Like, the Desolator's almost done. That's going to be the point where even the Tiny's going to be something that he can pick off, but he needs to be cautious jumping in like that. Just, you can't afford to melt. It's still a Jakiro, it's still a Kotl, it's still a Tiny. They've got a lot of magical burst on hand as well.
Well, Polaris, they've smoked up as 4. Oh, In Your Dream, do not go for that creep wave, sir. Instead, they're going down south. Boomboy getting set up on here by Lelouch. They're taking down one. The Soulbind wants her in time, and now with the Dooms out, they're going to try and force this fight. The Mars in big trouble. In Your Dream, he will take down Nevermind as they go for Lelouch down the Tiny. He will drop to Boo onto the Jug. They go Natsumi. He's been caught out. He'll go for the spin out, but can he get out? He cannot. He cannot make his way out of there, as now In Your Dream can pace for more. TMB. A triple kill out for Alacrity. They even found the final piece of the puzzle. It's going to be Xavier's, but can they get him? Yes, they can. Alacrity picks up an ultra kill on the Dragon Knight. And that team fight really works out the way of NGX.SEA.
Dire's
Yeah,
top
it's
tower is under attack.
they overextend on NGX's on Polaris' side. They tried to force that fight. Angle wasn't quite the best, and this time around, when BKB managed to turn on for In Your Dream, and that makes all the difference in the world. Your Jug still not well equipped to deal with the
Dire's
evasion.
top tower
Spin
has
damage
fallen.
is nice, but not enough to melt your In Your Dream.
Dire's bottom
And once the
tower
BKB
is
flies on,
under
it doesn't
attack.
even matter. So
Dire's bottom tower has
Polaris in a
fallen.
very awkward spot. They had some momentum coming back. They forced the issue a bit too hard. NGX managing to catch them off guard, managing to get that beautiful double Doom off once more with JoeCam. And In Your Dream, fully kitted out now. Desolator is up. Damage output is skyrocketing. PA starting to hit level 20. I'm wondering
Dire's top
what In Your
tower
Dream
is
goes
under
for.
attack.
Because it feels like in this game, if you really just want to win while you're ahead, you get that evasion talent. He does go for the stifling dagger damage
Dire's
instead, so
middle
plays it
tower
safe.
is under
Maybe
attack.
expecting that down the line at some point you will have something fierce for the evasion. Might as well just try to crit the supports in the back with a stifling dagger. Kotl is not going to be safe this game, Mike. Nothing defensive for Xavius. No Ghost Scepter up yet either, so one lucky dagger crit, he could be a dead boy very fast.
You'd love to see it. 6k net worth lead is there once again for NGX.SEA.
Seeds of fortune.
You see how well Natsumi's farming of the Jug, but it just doesn't translate, right? Because it's PA versus Jug. It doesn't feel very good for the Juggernaut. It seems like he's going for a Lincoln Sphere just to block out these Dooms that have been flying out from Jokam. The double Doom proving to be way too much in the middle of these team fights. But even with that, I question whether you can control this PA. Especially while the BKB's up, it just feels rather impossible. Polaris not out of this game yet though. AK behind, but they can certainly make a massive comeback here. We've seen Lelouch and Nevermind set up some great team fights for Polaris. And this is without Natsumi even being around. They just seem to be able to make them work. But 5v5, again, that Doom kicks in with the Soulbind. It's just too much. And in we go. NGX.SEA, they're grouping up and they're trying to move into that dire triangle once again. Oh, there's a double damage.
Oh, boy. Yeah, no bottle for In Your Dream to hold on to that, so it doesn't look like they'll really get an opportunity to find that one shot onto something like the Kotl. Polaris can be very, very fortunate to have that ward standing, not being taken out by the side of NGX. NGX will go for that smoke play, though. See if they can find the angle this time around. Lines drawn up top, want to check that top jungle, but they are hiding by the tier 2 on Polaris, playing very defensively. Knowing that they've dropped a couple of fights, and knowing that the Roche is going to be up relatively soon. Timer's going to be up soon. See how much time they have here.
Oh, Alacrity, he does break the smoke. Lelouch, he doesn't flinch. Just keeps hiding in that tree line. He was under vision of the Observer Ward of the Dire, but again, they just don't feel confident making the jump in onto the DK. He does have BKB available, so it's a rather tough kill to try and go for. Polaris, they're still kind of just dealing with the side lanes being forced in here by Mizu. Very annoying, always going against that Nature's Prophet with the Greater Treants. Always going to keep an eye out as to exactly what's going on in those side lanes. Roshan, still 2.5 minutes away, but NGX.SEA are clearly waiting for that Roshan to come up. Polaris, obviously not going to be able to afford to give that Roshan away for free.
Are going for the smoke play as well. See if they find the angle. Lots of treants being spread around here by Mizu, just getting some vision out. So they should know something's up.
Basher up on In Your Dream now. Counter smoke is there. NGX.SEA looking to try and force the fight with this new itemization. Lelouch might need to back up, but he's still got the vision advantage. Watching from the high ground, In Your Dream. Thinking about making the jump in, but doesn't throw out that dagger yet. Polaris understanding how fast this game could fall apart if they make the jump in the wrong way.
Invisibility.
Meanwhile, Mizu, he's still just pushing out the bot lane. Mind you, it's still a far while away, but Polaris, they're going to have to address that eventually. Lelouch makes the jump in on the DK illusions now. Not going to quite find the real hero, though, and again, it just seems like both teams are waiting for Roshan. Still 1 minute, 10 seconds away, though.
Still a bit of a wait. Both sides in a good position to kind of force that Roche pit fight. It all boils down to whether or not Polaris can catch NGX before they turn on their BKBs. Like, say, you pin down In Your Dream, burn them down with a macro pyre, and that's kind of a good condition to start going here. If NGX manages to find a counterfight with their own BKBs being popped at the right time before the control can come in, that's when things get dicey for Polaris. So they really do have to work on that aggression here for Polaris. They've got to work the angle somehow, and they have to keep their lanes in check. Like, bot is just constantly shoved in, forcing a response out every single time. And I like what Mizu does. He shoves in the wave, and then he sends the treants around to scout and just farm other camps. Just getting that gold influx going his way, cutting off resources from the side of Polaris that keep building up. 15 seconds until that Roshan is up. Polaris still keeping an eye on it. and so is NGX. So both sides being very patient. Might have the opportunity to smoke out again for the side of Polaris if they wanted to, if they still have any on hand. Doesn't quite look like they do. Just gonna have to try to ram their heads in if they want to try to sneak this one or contest it.
It's a rather annoying timing here for Natsumi though, John. Like, he's still working on towards that MKB and doesn't really have any components of it. So still a while away of being able to get through that evasion of the PA, and now the counter smoke is there. NGX.SEA, they'll see the Roshan. They want the fight first. Still 9k advantage. They understand they are the stronger team right now as they are moving in Alacrity. Who's he got? He's got at least something, and it's going to be the Xavier's Coddle gone. Good start here for NGX.SEA. Polaris, they've got to back out of there, but that's going to open up the Roshan to go the way of the Radiant. And it doesn't seem like there's anything Polaris can do about it.
They don't have many options left. They need a Coddle there, especially for a little bit more of that sustain come through from the Spirit Form. Illuminate. Roche falls very quickly to the output of In Your Dream at this point. That's going to be 3 shards out as well for In Your Dream, so a little bit more damage. Break mechanic on hand with a Fan of Knives out, along with that secondary life with a BKB. I don't know if Polaris can deal with the 2 lives. We've seen them deal with 1 life on In Your Dream. Secondary life with a BKB, as long as In Your Dream gets that going there, should be perfectly manageable. So, opening up that push onto the high ground now. Only 1 outer tower left for Polaris. Their high ground defense, it is there. They've got wave clear with a Coddle and the Jakiro. They've got the arena threat. They've always got toss back plays if they manage to find the angle. But it does feel harder and harder to pull that off as NGX solidified their lead now, 13k. And just keep building up. Like, Alacrity already has Ags up here as well, Mike. Our DK, having that Black Dragon form and free patting, is also doing quite a fair bit of damage with his durability on hand.
It certainly is. Looks like Jokam was thinking about a bit of a jump, but won't do so. Natsumi still shying mid lane. Does get a very quick spear off, or excuse me, rather a spin off. Avoiding any kind of stun to come in from the DK. It's all about holding high ground now and trying to get through that Aegis of In Your Dream. In Your Dream, in the meantime, he's just going to work towards finishing off that Abyssal Blade. About 500 more gold for that.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
That's going to make life even harder for the Jug. I guess it does buy at least a bit more time for Natsumi to try and get that MKB up, but it's such a long time away if you expect to have buyback with that as well.
Yeah, it's a long way to go for Natsumi, so a lot more stall has to come through from Polaris, as we do have our classic Southeast Asian wait pause. No context provided, just wait. So that is something we are good at doing in Southeast Asia. We're very good at waiting, Mike. As
you certainly are.
And someone undoubtedly spams F9 in a pub. It is what it is.
It's tradition, John. Just tradition. You
Absolutely.
always spam F9, and there's no good reason why someone should be pausing in the middle of a live game. Absolutely none.
No, the classic excuse, of course, is Discord. I miss that. Pause and say Discord. Always gets me chuckling.
They've realized now there's no point in saying Discord anymore. Just say wait. It's all right.
Who was it that loved saying Discord? Was it Boom? It was
Everyone
almost
said
always
it.
Boom.
Everyone said
that's true. Go ahead, Stare. Still no context provided. No context needed as they go back into the game. And NGX, I mean, they have all the tools on hand. Once that Abyssal Blade's up on In Your Dream, like you said, Mike, it's gonna be hard for Natsumi to do anything. Like, spin's not gonna feel useful. Even the level 20 talent of Mizu, just leash him up, and Natsumi's gonna be pretty isolated if he does find himself in an awkward spot. NGX being very patient here though, Mike, respecting the high ground hold of Polaris. So gonna play it safe for now. Just keep shoving in and keep getting that build up.
And in the meantime, Polaris, they'll just hold the high ground forever.
Dire's top
And you've still
tower
got
is under
2.5
attack.
minutes on the Aegis, and now with the Aghanim, or rather the Abyssal Blade up, it's probably about time for NGX.SEA to try and move their way up towards the high ground. You know, I don't think you want to risk getting to the stage where Natsumi does have buyback as well as the MKB, because then things do get infinitely harder if you are the PA. So you finally got a way to actually hit this hero. NGX, they're not really moving though. Again, a lot of pressure on both these teams to try and make this win happen. You lose 2 series in the SEA DPC, again, chances are you probably aren't going to the major. It's not impossible, but it's incredibly hard. Just how the format works. But I suppose for NGX.SEA, they could really just make it very easy for themselves by continuing to just farm. 17k net worth advantage now.
Still building up, still more they could get here on In Your Dream. Satanic coming through next for a PA. Octarine Core coming through for Alacrity. That added range on Dragon Tail, it's going to be really nice, especially in melee form if they want that instantaneous stun. So you're going to have a lot to play with. Of course, more uptime on the Dragon form with the Ags up. A great way of managing everything. There is a double damage rune that spawned up top here as well, Mike. Would be very nice if In Your Dream finds that. Very balanced for PA to crit a hero all the way down if they find that DD. And again, just look at Mizu. Constantly microing all of his treants to walk around and just check. Just making sure Polaris isn't smoking out or doing anything silly.
I think Eason tweeted this this last game, Jonathan. He did say that Mizu was doing a great job of kind of just blocking all the camps against the Medusa. Just partially why they had such an easy time against the Medusa from Natsumi last game is the fact that Mizu was just blocking all the camps with his treants. And so he's kind of doing a similar thing, except this time he doesn't need to block any camps. He just scouts out constantly and makes sure that Polaris aren't leaving the base. And that they haven't. They are not leaving. They are still within this base. 20k advantage the way of NGX.SEA, only going higher as time goes on. But maybe once the Aegis is down on In Your Dream, they'll decide to try and make a play.
Yeah, only 20 seconds left for In Your Dream's Aegis. So not too much time left in that secondary life. And that could be the opening for Polaris if they do want to try to make something happen on the map. Slowly but surely, this MKB is also forming up now on Natsumi. So he will have a way of dealing with that PA. Does have the money for it now. Doesn't have his courier for a bit longer though. So not going to be able to buy back safely. And you have the Aegis expiring now. So no secondary life, and that could be the opening for Polaris if they do dip out, but they're just stuck here. I mean, what can you really do? You're constantly scouted out by the treants. You don't really want to risk it outside. You know that PA is a massive issue, and you've seen the DK Dragon form already. The BKBs have just been ruining your instantaneous burst on initiation, especially if you don't catch them before the BKBs fly on. So your options are kind of limited right now for the side of Polaris.
22k advantage now. Satanic being built up yet next on In Your Dream. I mean, Natsumi does have enough to have the full MKB up now if he does want it. Problem is he's going to leave himself with no buyback, so he's not doing so. He's holding up for now. Of course, his courier did end up going down anyway, so maybe he was trying to get that done. That's not going to happen. And again, the farm game continues. NGX.SEA just not having enough quite yet. Polaris really trying to hold out here on the high ground. Still grouped up as 5. Have smokes available, and they are going to pop one. They've had enough. The treants are going to give this information away, though. Nobody's in the base, so they're going to know that there's smoke somewhere. Where are they headed, though? Jokam, he does break the smoke of Natsumi. Boomboy, he does back off at the right moment, and it just... This feels impossible. How are you meant to leave the base if they just know every time?
Yeah, you can't. You get a good read. Again, the treant's not being cleared out fast. Does indicate to NGX something's up. They managed to break the smokes. Boomboy stands around his ward. Backs off in the nick of time. And Polaris are just stuck high ground. Like, this is just a slow but sure whittling away from NGX. They're going to have that full Satanic up on In Your Dream right about now. I think gold's already there. So Satanic PA along with Abyssal, along with Deso. Everything's pretty much set. Like, I don't think you'd wait for anything more here. And the one worry is only that MKB on Natsumi, but again, he's still waiting to have enough for the MKB plus the buyback. Still a ways off. Until that point, it just doesn't feel safe to commit. Like, you could also just pray and hope that Lelouch starts to become this massive core. You're gonna work towards his Ag shard. Still no buyback to have the shard plus buyback. But he will be able to contribute to these fights. He's got his Shadow Blade up. He needs a little bit more attack speed, though. So a lot more room to grow here for Lelouch as well.
I mean, mean, you're getting to a stage where in your dreams is farming axe now, John. Into a divine rapier, by the way. That's just his last item. If he gets to it, I'm buying a divine rapier. It looks like Polaris now going to leave the base for the first time in a very long time, I want to say. Apart from that smoke. They might just move as a unit and try to get this to the secret shop. And there we go. They've got the MKB up now, Natsumi. Is it going to make the difference? It's questionable.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I think the answer is no, but it could make the difference.
It could. It's a bit tough against PA. You have to ensure again that you catch her
Dire's top tower
maybe right after she casts Blur as well, so you don't have any chance to just dodge at least even one slash. Feels like you're gonna need to get everything you can in your Omni Slash, and you have to find that right angle where there are no treants around, not many other heroes to bounce off into, just focus solely on PA. They do lose their range racks now from the slow whittling away. Polaris,
Oh, it's just
their
so
base is just
sickening.
slowly being sieged. Yeah, this is just. It's like they're just slowly killing them. You know, with 1,000 cuts. You know they're gonna die, but the process of them doing it is just slow. I mean, Polaris, they still have a hold, but I don't know. They need so much more, Mike. It just doesn't feel enough. It feels like NGX has to mess up.
He just buys a Manta and he's sending his Black Dragon illusions in to hit the towers. And it's working. That's the most sickening part. It's working. They smoke out, they lose their tier 3 tower. Mizu's tipping Nevermind now for absolutely no reason. The Raxes are under siege and they're just DK illusions. And these damn treants. And NGX, they're just refusing to fight.
Yeah. I mean, it's back to that point you said, right? Like, this series is just so important for both sides, not one too much away.
They're finally ready. The Keeper of the Light is going to go down. The patience is over here for Polaris. Now the jump is there. Jokam, who's he got? It's going to be Nevermind. Being caught out of the mask. Being shredded here by In Your Dream. Absolutely no problem. They'll refresh. Back into the Jakiro now. They've got TMB down. But buybacks are available. They've had plenty of time to save those up. Tex is out into the jug, but instead they go on to Lelouch on that tiny. Better be Lelouch gone. In for more Jokam. He jumped in again on Nevermind. He wants to die back on that mask, and he might just have it. Boom Boy at least going down, but it won't matter. In Your Dream, he's destroying everyone. Natsumi trying his best to get out of there. A nice toss out by Lelouch, but is it going to make the difference? It doesn't seem like it. In Your Dream's all over it. They've got the jug down. He'll buy back, but this game's over. GG is called. Can we get a rampage this time for In Your Dream? He's going to have to start the fountain for it. Natsumi doesn't want to give it over. The judge, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not this series. No rampage for you, sir.
Yeah, he was denied off by Boomboy last time. This time, the game just ends. They called GG earlier. They know In Your Dream was going to cut for that play, and they don't hand it over. NGX managing to play so aggressive in the side lanes this time. They play a very active early game. They make sure the lanes are not very comfy for the side of Polaris, and they don't get that build-up. Like, I think Natsumi just going for the Battle Fury. You pointed this out early, but it allowed him to kind of keep up with that farm on the PA, but he didn't really contribute. He was stuck farming for a long time, finally hits MKB. We see the Omni Slash. It's not even on the PA on that high ground defense, and everything just felt flat. It just felt like Polaris aren't finding that aggressive start they want. They're having Xavius leave that bot lane of Nevermind. They want him to solo. He gets caught off a million times by In Your Dream and Boomboy with that simple Blink Inkswell combination, and they just feed off him. He had like a 12-13 minute Battle Fury and just kind of snowballed from there.
It certainly did. A very slow end to the game, but a very safe way for NGX.SEA to end it, and it does seem like they're very, very happy. Of course, we are going to have an interview and a post-game panel coming up very, very soon after a very short break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back after a few words. We'll see you then.
NGX.SEA had a fantabulous display of resilience there. They ended up coming back in game 2 and 3 to be able to take this series off of Polaris. So big props to them. For this game 3, you know, I have to say, they did exactly what you said you wanted to see, Fia. They were out there, they were winning the lanes, they were kind of snowballing, but then we saw this team fight that they lost to Polaris, and there was this opening. What do you think was like the main reason for that team fight loss?
Just the initiation. I think it was the Mars who got a super good initiation there and caught him off guard. And just killed them one by one. PA didn't get her BKB off right and just died immediately in the fight, and that was like the one team fight win they got. That was incredibly good. But I want to like backtrack further of like what the true problem of this game was for me. It was like the Mars just didn't have a lane at all. Like he lost all his HP pre-rune, and with the salve nerfs, he never got his HP back, so he had to like forfeit the first creep wave basically to wait for a salve to come on courier. Then he got it, and then the Grimstroke canceled it, and then he just couldn't lane ever again in the lane. And you can see by his net worth here, he's behind his Coddle throughout the majority of this game. Lowest net worth, and PA just had like the freest lane of her life and game. And it was just really helped their snowball so much.
Yeah, definitely. After that team fight where it kind of looked a little bit, I'm not going to say in favor of Polaris, right? But it was a shining light for them. They were able to even the gold difference. Why do you think they struggled to really capitalize on that one, God?
I think NGX got better at fighting around their cooldowns. A lot of the times these fights are happening where players would run at them when particularly the Doom was on cooldown, because that's just where NGX are going to shine most, is when they've got Grimstroke plus Doom, double Doom, and the team fight is just so much more straightforward there. I also think the other big thing is, as the game went, as these heroes scaled into the late game, heroes like PA, DK, these heroes became absolute like monsters. Like they were really carrying the game. And on the other side, you have this Jug who had to itemize into a Linken's because he felt like he needed against the DK. And just in general, like Jug as a carry doesn't scale that well. It's more this like tempo early mid game carry that's meant to do well in lane, have a solid mid game, and kind of snowball. But that wasn't what their draft was built to do. So the end result was you have this late game Jug who was kind of on par with Farm, but was doing nothing in a team fight.
Yeah, when we were looking through that drafting phase, right at the end there, Fee, you said you weren't really too sure why the DK was picked. You didn't fully understand. Do you see now, looking back at how that game played out, why they potentially did pick the DK?
I mean, it's a good lane matchup against the Tiny. And throughout the game, they like to, you know, push their lead. So NP plus DK, it gives them like a lot of tower push. So it makes sense. I'm still not a huge fan of the hero itself, but I can see why they wanted it this game, and it worked out the way that they probably wanted to as well.
Should we be a little bit afraid of NGX.SEA's Nature's Prophet if you're coming up against them in the future weeks?
Possibly. I mean, I think almost any team, but with how kind of lane and snowball heavy this patch can be, or at least continuation of the last patch, I think a hero like Nature's Prophet looks really solid. Like, it doesn't really have too many bad lane matchups, so something I would expect to see continue to pop up week to week.
If you are Polaris, what would you like to see them take away and from this series?
I think the biggest thing is just work on their laning stage. Like the last two games they lost, they got kind of owned at the laning stage. So yeah, as simple as that, they need to work on their laning stage.
Alrighty, well, it is time for what everyone's waiting for, and that is our winners interview, and that is going to be joined by Joe Cam. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the win. How's the atmosphere with the team down there?
Hello. I'm feeling great to win this series. Of course.
Does it feel extra good knowing that it was game 2 and 3 that you guys won? You were able to come back from a game deficit?
I think we just good at maintain the map on game 2 and game 3. We are not that scared.
Okay.
Yeah. Earlier this week, you guys played Fnatic. It was a really close series. Did you feel like you took a lot away from that series and learned from it, and did that help you for the series today?
We learned a lot. We know our mistake, and also I feel like if we can always maintain our map and we are not that scared to open the map, we're gonna win that match also.
And in terms of playstyle, do you feel like, I mean, we've seen you go in the past tour, you're playing some more hard carries. Do you feel like you're going to be moving more towards like faster pace kind of drafts during this tour on the new patch?
Depends, I think. That's our coach. I don't want to talk about it.
No problem.
Alright, so with this patch, like in previous patches, Position 4 has played a lot of ranged, but you played Tiny and Doom now. Do you think these melee Position 4s are better?
No, I think because for now we cannot spam soft. So I just want to on the lane and use my body, because I cannot spam soft also in the lanes. That's how I feel about this patch.
with this series, what were you guys doing or thinking about between each game to be able to come back stronger?
I think we just need to reset and play on our play style. Don't think about the opponent.
Well, you guys did that extraordinary. Congratulations again on the win, and thank you for joining us for the interview.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See
Have a
ya.
good day, sir.
You too.
See ya.
Bye. Are you almost not going to wave to him?
I got into the last second. They're going to feel good. They finally
They do.
beat Polaris.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
team that they could like never beat.
Yeah,
They
and
finally did it.
I think it's also off the back of a loss to Fnatic, right? We talked
Yeah.
about it a little bit. If you do lose 2 series, it is very unlikely that you're probably going to be taking a major spot. So for them, they're still in the running. They're still in contention. It is. You can't come out of this not feeling really good about yourselves. But for you guys, is there something that you think really stands out for that playstyle that others should be maybe aware of?
I thought his response to my question was super interesting. He said, like, because of the patch, he can't salve anymore his carry, so he's using his hero, his body, to take all the damage, like, in, like, the laning stage, because he knows he's going to take the damage. He can salve himself, right? Now he doesn't have to make his position 3 tank all the damage, so it's an interesting, like, adaptation to, like, the laning stage. That was very smart.
We're going to have a quick look at the Division 1 standings as well, so you guys know where it is. Polaris, unfortunately, losing both of their series this week, but NGX.SEA getting a 1-1, 1 loss, 1 win. It's looking good for them, and you'll also notice that the 2 teams that don't have any series scores at the moment is RSG and T1. Those 2 will be facing off in our next series, so make sure you stick around. We are going to head to a very short break. When we do come back, it is going to be with that very exciting series.